Hello everyone, my name is Janelle Rizal, and today we are teaching you Social Media 101. I'm a social media consultant, web developer, and video producer. So today we're going to be talking about social media strategy and an overview of the different types of social media platforms and how to really leverage them. This is going to be a very brief overview, and it's not going to go in depth to each different network. That will be in a later episode. Now, when you're thinking about social media, you have to think of social media as a means of conversation and a means of communication and learning. Now, in school, there are different types of learners, and these types of learners respond to communication differently. Therefore, on social media, you also have different types of learners. So you have your visual learners, and these are people who are visual. They like graphics, photos, cute pictures of cats, random pictures of food. These are your visual people, and you know who you are. Then there are also your auditory, and the auditory people are people who like to talk a lot. They like to learn by hearing. They like hearing people talk. They don't mind reading out loud, and they also like reading text and/or hearing someone read text. So there's your auditory learners, and then the last type is the kinesthetic learner or the kinetic. So the kinetic, not to be confused with a connect, is a type of person who is really just hands-on. So these are the people who, they need to touch it, they need to feel it, they need to be able to work with their hands and focus on this project. So now that you have those three basic concepts aligned, we can talk about what this means to social media. So with Facebook and Twitter, they're mostly, one and the same to most people, but in actuality, they're different. Different types of people exist on different types of networks. And with all the different types of networks out there in social media, it does get overwhelming. And the two you'll always hear about are Facebook and Twitter. But don't forget there's also LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, and a whole plethora of others. But for the interest of time and social media strategy, we mainly are going to focus on these four, plus YouTube, which is an entirely different social network in itself, and it has a different strategy all in itself. So with Facebook, Facebook is mainly for people that, and I'm quoting, I can't remember who said this, but Facebook is for people that you used to know. Facebook is also for visual learners. So Facebook is a visual place. It's a place for photos. It's a place for videos. It's a place where lots of stuff happens. But if you look at the majority of things that happen on Facebook, and you're probably on it right now, you'll notice a lot of people like to share photos, videos, articles that have photos in them. These are the type of people who are going to be visual. So if you're focusing on a Facebook driven strategy, or as part of your social media strategy, you need to take into consideration that Facebook is a visual place, and so you're going to have to deliver a lot of your content with nice visuals, with things that look cool, with video. And then when you go over to Twitter, Twitter is more for the auditory learner. So Twitter, auditory. And Twitter is for the bite-sized type of learner. So the auditory learner likes, simple, concise messages. So with Twitter, you only have 140 characters. And these 140 characters are all you get to type your message to the world. And Twitter is short and concise. It's very newsy. It's very kind of megaphone kind of, thing. And Twitter is for people that you want to know. So let's make a note right there. People is for people that you want to know. And if you're a business professional, Twitter is a great marketing tool for getting new clients as well. And that falls under the people who you want to know, as opposed to Facebook, where it's more like catching up with people. And then LinkedIn is a combination of all these three, because you never know who's going to be on LinkedIn. The kinetic type learner is definitely on LinkedIn. So someone who's like a handyman, a craftsperson, an artist, these people are on LinkedIn. And of course, they also fall into the visual category. They may fall into the auditory category. They may be an entirely type of new learner that we've never heard about. But they all exist on LinkedIn. So with LinkedIn is a place for people that you know. And you say that, and I say that, because you have to technically know the people when you're on LinkedIn. And if you're a company or a brand trying to get awareness about LinkedIn, there is an entirely different strategy in and itself, where you do have to have your employees and your executives go and network, but they're networking with people that they know. Pinterest, on the other hand, is also a different type of demographic. It is going to be your visual learner, and if you're not familiar with Pinterest, definitely get on it. It's a very cool social network, and your Pinterest network is going to be mainly focused for the female demographic. And I say that based off of Pinterest's reports on what their major audience is, and their major audience does cater mostly to young females, as well as older females who may be moms, or they may have families, or something of that sort. Because Pinterest is notorious for having great ideas for crafts and DIY and cooking, all types of things like that. So Pinterest is a great place for a brand that may have a physical product that they are selling, as well as something that is visually enticing, like a resort or a vacation or an art gallery. The possibilities are endless. So keeping all of those notes in mind, now you have an idea of what kind of people you're going to be finding on these networks. Now, of course, we haven't talked about YouTube yet, and that's because YouTube will be in an entirely different episode, because YouTube is a special network in where you don't really have a direct two-way conversation. But the way that you engage in a two-way discussion, which is what everyone is interested in, is with using other social networks like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. And that's why you see the different arrows here. So you see my red arrows linking to the YouTube, and that is to show that YouTube is tying all of these platforms together, and it ultimately is going to go back to your website, which is what you want to do in social media, is drive all this traffic to your website or your landing page or someplace where you're trying to sell something. And once you have that concept in mind and you know who you're targeting on these social networks, as well as YouTube being a plethora of people, then you can really start to leverage social media for what it really is and what it's worth. And of course, this does not constitute a well-written social media strategy, so if you do need help with that, don't forget to contact me on my website, JanelleRazal.com or jrazalmedia.com, or you can tweet me at JanelleRazal or find me on other social networks. And stay tuned for the next episode, where you will see what's going on this board, as well as so much more. Until next time, this is your social media guru, Janelle Razal, reminding you to stay social.